Welcome into the 2023 Fantasy Baseball preview for the Texas Rangers. Before we hop into things, let's do a little bit of housekeeping here. My name is Dave Eddy. I am with my boy here, Connor Thomure. We've been breaking down every team in the AL. We will continue to do so. We're pumping out a video a day between what we're doing on the AL side and what Jason and JP are doing on the NL side. If you've been enjoying these videos, go ahead, throw a like on there for us. If you're kind of just now finding out about us and, just running into this video, then do yourself a favor, subscribe to our channel, throw on those notifications so you can get an alert every time a new video comes out. And then do yourself another favor, hop on over to fantasy6pack.com/plans. You can go ahead and get our all access package over there. It's going to get you access to, our award-winning rankings, our draft tools, our Discord, which gets you direct access to guys like myself and Connor, as well as the rest of the Fantasy Six Pack team and other like-minded folks like yourself. So you can sit there and talk about whatever your heart's desire. But Connor, my heart desires to talk about the Texas Rangers. So let's hop into that starting lineup here real quick. And it's going to lead off at the top with Marcus Semien, followed by Corey Seager, Nathe Lowe, Adolis Garcia, Jonah Heim behind the plate, Josh Jung, Brad Miller, Leodes Tavares, and Josh H. Smith. That's going to round out their lineup. Now, let's just start here with Marcus Semien at the top of that lineup. Obviously, him and Seager signed those massive contracts a couple years ago. I mean, do you just simply think that, Semien is just the top second baseman right now in baseball for fantasy purposes?
It's close between him and Altuve, but Jose Altuve still is number one for me. Altuve has the better lineup behind him, and I think that's where I point to with this is give it to him.
Yeah, I mean, second base is one of those spots I feel like in the draft where either you're going to snag somebody early and get, a Semien, Altuve, something like that, or you're just going to have to sit on it and just for lack of a better term, punt the position, And obviously you can't just reach for everything. So, you can't say, oh, I'm going to reach and make sure I get a good catcher. I'm going to make sure I get a good third baseman and make sure I get a good second baseman. You can't reach on everything. So second base is probably a position where I think it drops off so quickly that I don't mind, drafting a guy like a Semien, whereas at catcher and maybe even at third base, if I don't get an elite guy, I'm fine with just sitting back and letting something fall to me much later. Another guy that's really interesting to me is Nathe Lowe there at first base. Coming off a Silver Slugger season, take that for what it's worth in fantasy baseball, but he's a guy that I think you can make an argument is pretty underrated. What are your thoughts on him heading into 2023?
I rank him as like a top 10 first baseman right now. I think I want to put him at 7th behind like Jose Abreu and Matt Olson behind those two guys.
Yeah.
His batting average is really good. I mean, if he bats like that, I'm a big batting average guy. So if you get on base and you have a high batting average, there's use for you. Might not be the best for fantasy baseball, but to me it counts. And so I like his value this year. I think he's a good player to get.
Yeah, and I think he just is an example of, first base being relatively deep this year. So, that's not a position where, as much as I love like a guy like Vladimir Guerrero, and I would love just to take him in the first round, guys like Nathe Lowe are the reason why I won't do that. I just don't feel the need to reach at first base like I would for like a Marcus Semien or something at second. And the last guy I want to talk about here, let's go a little more under the radar. Let's talk about, Josh Jung and kind of what do you think fantasy managers can expect from him this season?
I wouldn't be expecting too much. I don't like to put big expectations on the younger players. It's fun too, but it's not always practical to do that. So I want to limit expectations. He is the type of guy, though, that really can, turn himself into like a top 15 third baseman, provide lots of fantasy value. So maybe a guy you want to look at late in drafts this year. I think he's going pretty late currently after the 200s in some leagues. So if you get him back then, I think he's worth it. But anything over that, I don't know. I want to limit the expectations.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be comfortable with him being my starting third baseman.
No.
I probably, I mean, obviously it depends on the depth of the league, but generally speaking, I don't think I'd want him as like my corner infielder or utility guy either. But on the bench, kind of like I talked about on the Seattle Mariners show about Kelnick. I don't mind
Yeah.
taking the high upside guys late in the draft, knowing that I can always just dump them. I prefer to go for upside late in the drafts than safety. A lot of people will draft floor guys at the end. I prefer to draft ceiling guys. But let's go ahead and move on over to that rotation, because it is led off by a very interesting piece at the top. They are not shy to spend money in Texas, and they have landed themselves one Jacob DeGrom, followed by Martin Perez, John Gray, Nathan Eovaldi, and Andrew Heaney in that rotation. So, obviously DeGrom sticks out like a sore thumb there because, it's Jacob DeGrom, right? Like, I mean, who doesn't know Jacob DeGrom? But the same question that I feel like we've asked for I don't know how many years is, will Jacob DeGrom stay healthy?
Easy answer is no.
I agree
I don't
completely.
trust him at all. So I'd like to avoid him. It's probably what it's been like the last couple of years. You don't draft him unless he falls a couple of rounds to you because everyone else is out on him. So yeah, that'd be the only reason I'd take him, because I don't trust him.
Yeah, and DeGrom is going to be another one of those guys where someone is going to take him before he would reach a point where I would take him. There's always going to be somebody in that league that is going to take DeGrom before I would consider him. I don't even know how far we'd have to fall for me to take him, but it's just never going to happen. Another guy in there that's kind of interesting is Martin Perez. Had a just ridiculously good season for Martin Perez, at least, last season. Now, is this the guy that, you're targeting at all this season, or do you just feel like, his draft stock is just too high and you're, avoiding him as well?
I'm avoiding him as well. I think the draft stock is too high. Last year, I think was going to be an outlier. I don't think he'll get back to being as good as he was last year. Maybe I'm just a hater and I'm down on him, but yeah, I want no part of him, because I think where you can get him, you can get more reliable players still.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I just don't trust him. I don't see much of a ceiling on him. So, you know, I, I just feel as though I can draft other guys that I not only have more confidence in, but that I think, could provide me with more value, as it is. And then let's go ahead and let's finish up with the bullpen here for the Rangers. Um, it's interesting. Again, not a lot of great names here, but we run through the list here. We got Jose Leclerc scheduled to close for him, followed by the seventh and eighth inning guys, Jonathan Hernandez and Brock Burke. Rounded out in the bullpen with Joe Barlow, Taylor Hearn, Josh Spores, Danny Duffy, and Jake Odorizzi. Like I said, not a whole lot to go off of here. I think this is probably a bullpen that just about everyone is going to end up avoiding. But, gun to your head, you have to draft a guy. It could be saves only. It could be saves and holds, whatever the situation may be. You got to take a guy. Who are you taking?
It's going to be Leclerc to start the season, and I don't feel good at that. That's a guy where you draft him because he's the closer, and then 2 weeks in he's not the closer anymore, so you drop him for somebody else. So I think it'd be him. Another interesting name is Jake Odorizzi here.
Yeah,
Is he a reliever? Is he a starter? Is he the closer there? That might be the most interesting. Not sure how likely it is, but I think he's the most interesting.
No, I would say Jake Odorizzi might be the most interesting name here because, like you said, he could have a variety of different roles. Odds are he's not going to provide you any sort of actual value, but just the fact that he could is intriguing. So maybe a guy that you keep an eye on, but probably don't draft. But when I look at this bullpen, I don't trust any of these guys. Don't get me wrong. I don't intend on drafting any of these guys. However, the one thing I will say when I look at this, I do think that Jose Leclerc is in his own tier from the rest of these guys. So it's a matter of if he will stay healthy. What's his command going to look like? I'm assuming that with all the money they've spent, he should, if he's the closer, get some save opportunities. It's just a matter of what he's going to do with them. He's very likely to not hold the role throughout the entirety of the season, but he is a guy that does have a lot of talent. And if things were to fall correctly, I would not be shocked if he's a top 10 closer, but I sure as hell am not banking on it. And I'm sure as hell not drafting him that way. All right, so that's going to go ahead and finish it up then here for us on the 2023 Fantasy Baseball Preview for the Texas Rangers. Again, if you've enjoyed this video, go ahead and throw a like on there for us. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications so you can get an alert every time a new one of these videos come out. We got one coming out a day, and I'd hate for you to miss any. I appreciate you tuning in.